In this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name's Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary, where I am right now. It's about 12:51 p.m. Just woke up, and the date is April 20th, 420. Hey, absolutely, 420, 2024. And yeah, so today we're going to be doing or covering the next part of this Drake versus the industry saga on my channel by talking about this new freestyle that Drake just dropped titled Tailor-Made Freestyle. Now, there's been a lot happening since the last time I've jumped on here and talked about the Drake versus the industry saga. Rick Ross jumped into the chat. He dropped his diss. I covered that on my channel, and there have been many shots that Drake and Rick Ross have taken on each other, to each other online, right? On Instagram and captions and funny stuff like that in memes and stuff. But I'm not covering that because that would be too much for me to cover. And on my channel, I generally stay away from like celebrity gossip and drama and stuff like that. But I will be covering the music in this beef because I do love hip hop, and I think this is important for the game. This is a pivotal moment in hip hop history. We've never seen somebody go against the entire industry or have the industry turn on them like what's happening to Drake right now. So I will be covering the songs that are happening. I love hip hop. I think beef and competition and music is important for hip hop, and that's why I will be talking about this. I didn't like when J. Cole apologized because in hip hop, you know, you gotta, if you drop your diss, if you talk to the people like that, you gotta stand on business. You get what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, this is just music, and all the hip hop fans realize that these guys are not street niggas. Like, nobody is expecting Drake or J. Cole or Kendrick to shoot at each other, beat each other up, or anything like that over this beef, right? So let's just keep this on wax. Right now, so far, it hasn't gone too far. I do think Rick Ross has gone a bit too far with some of the stuff he's been saying to Drake, and it's getting to the point of no return. But I think Drake has kept this pretty much hip-hop, pretty much entertaining, and that's why we need to talk about it. So I woke up this morning, about an hour ago, and I heard the Drake diss. I will not be playing the Drake diss on the live stream because the last two times I played one of the songs in this struggle, in this conflict, YouTube hit me with a copyright strike. All right, so Just Someone said, hi, bro. All right, shout out to Just Someone. Don't know who you are, but let me know what you think, Just Someone, about this Drake-Kendrick beef. Do you think Drake is winning? Do you think Kendrick is winning? What you know? So I heard the Drake AI diss about 2 times before I turned on this stream, and I actually like it. So far, I think, in my opinion, Drake is winning this beef. Now, it's not because he's replying on time or he's, got the craziest tracks, but I like what he's saying in his disses, right? And I'm not the biggest Drake fan. I'm not some Drake stan. I don't love Drake more than any other rapper. He is not my favorite rapper, not even in my top 10, but I do like the way he's playing chess with these people outside. So I'm going to be reading the lyrics, and I might read the lyrics a few times to break it all down. So I'm going to read it one time through. So, like you see in the title, this is a song where Drake is utilizing AI. He's got an AI Tupac and an AI Snoop on this song. So the first verse opens, the song opens with like this deep, piano melody beat. Sounds like somebody, it sounds like on YouTube, you type in Tupac style beats or Snoop type beat or West Coast type beat. That's the type of vibe it gives. So the song opens with the artificial Tupac saying, Illuminati, dawn rises again. You can see it in my eyes again. Verse 1, Kendrick, we need you, the West Coast savior, engraving your name in some hip-hop history. If you deal with this viciously, you seem a little nervous about all the publicity. Fuck this Canadian light skin, we need an undebated West Coast victory. Man, call him a bitch for me. Talk about him liking young girls. That's a gift from me. Heard it on the Button podcast. It's gotta be true. They told me the spirit of Machiavelli is alive in a nigga under 5'5", so it's gotta be you. I would beef the whole fucking game. It was me and Snoop Dogg. Have my fucking shirt off in the House of Blues. K, you gotta fuck this nigga girl. He gotta get abused. All that shit about burning tattoos. He is not amused. That's just, that's jail talk for real thugs. You gotta be you. Gotta leave this motherfucking broken and bruised before we really lose. You asked for the smoke. Now it seemed you too busy for the smoke. I won't lie, the people confused. Now you about to give this shit another week and fall back to homegirl who's running numbers up. I would've refused. Fuck these industry relationships. She's not in your shoes. You supposed to be the boogeyman. You go do what you do. Unless this is a moment that they tell you that this is not really you. In that case, there's nothing left to say. I just pass it to Snoop. So that's the Tupac verse that Drake wrote for Pac. And I have to say, the first time I heard it, I said, Drake is a horrible ghostwriter for Pac. God damn. Like, I feel like I could write a better AI Tupac verse. Like, there's no mention of Hennessy, enemies, being a juvenile, an adolescent, a convalescent. Like, come on. Like, you gotta, if you're gonna do a Pac verse, you gotta embody that. But I get what Drake is trying to do here. I'm gonna talk more about the AI part of this, but let's go to the Snoop verse here. All right, so Snoop comes in and says, nephew, what the fuck you really about to do? We passed you the torch at the House of Blues, and now you gotta do some dirty work. You know how to move, right? Right? I know you never been to jail or wore jumpsuits and shower shoes. Never shot nobody, never stabbed nobody, never did nothing violent to no one. It's the homies that empower you. But still, you gotta show this fucking owl who's the boss on the West. Now's the time to really make a power move. Cause right now it's looking like you writing out the game plan on how to lose, how to bark up the wrong tree and then get your head popped in a crowded room. World is watching this chess game, but are you out of moves? Dot, you know what the DOG never fucking doubted you. But right now it seems like you posted up without a clue or what the fuck of what the fuck you about to do. Okay, so that's the Snoop Dogg verse. That's the Snoop Dogg verse. And I have to say, I like the Snoop verse better than the Tupac verse because it just sounds more like Snoop. You know what I'm saying? I find this whole thing interesting, how Drake is like ghostwriting for other rappers, like Tupac and Snoop in this thing. And, you know, Drake's pen is very specific. Like, you can hear a Drake verse, like, you know the style, you know the way he flows, the word choices he used, the way he accents his delivery in certain points. So, you know, the Snoop Dogg verse seems more fitting. But I guess that's because Snoop Dogg has less of a distinct style and Tupac has more of a distinct style. So when Drake is writing for Snoop, it sounds more like something Snoop would do because Snoop has had many different flows, many different types of deliveries, many different types of verses. So the interesting part of this song is the third verse. Let's go to the third verse. Drake actually jumps in. He's spitting for himself. He says, yeah, Unc, that's the truth. I'm definitely about to come around the lane, gang, and let my fucking bowel moves. Shitting on you niggas from a whole different altitude. High up in the sky like I'm Howard Hughes. The first one really took me an hour or two. The next one is really about to bring out the coward in you. But now we gotta wait a fucking week because Taylor Swift is your new top. And if you about to drop, she gotta approve. This girl really about to make you act like you not in the feud. She tailor-made your schedule with ants. You out of the loop. Hate all of your corporate industry puppets. I'm not in the mood. I love it when you niggas talk loose like I'm not in the room. Since like that, your tone changed a little. You're not amused. How are you not in the booth? I feel like you kind of removed. You trying to let this shit die down. Nah, not this time, nigga. You following through. I guess you need another week to figure out how to improve. What the fuck is taking so long? We waiting on you. The rest of y'all definitely involved. Y'all getting it too. Soon as you get the courage to drop, I'm out on the loose. On the loose. So that's Drake's third verse. And I find this interesting. Drake keeps on talking about a week, like, because Drake's last diss dropped like last week, like a week ago, right? 7 days ago. And I find it interesting that Drake thinks that Kendrick will be on the same schedule as him, because I think strategically, Drake is dropping on Saturdays or Friday nights and stuff like that, because that's when the media guys are off. There's no Breakfast Club that can analyze a song the next day. Most of the media people take like Saturday and Sunday off, no Hot 97, no Ebro breaking this down with Nadeska. It's Drake having the weekend to dominate the conversation and let the song percolate amongst the people. That way, when it comes back on Monday and all the media people have to then talk about the big drama over the weekend, Drake's people have had enough time to, you know, rally the troops, get people to say this is the greatest diss song ever. Drake is being very strategic on when he's dropping. But I don't think Kendrick is on that type of time. Kendrick isn't saying, I'm dropping on Saturday to try to dominate the headlines. Kendrick could drop any moment. Kendrick could drop in the middle of this live stream. Kendrick could drop on Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, and we're all going to stop whatever we're doing and we're going to listen because we're waiting on it. So I find this interesting. Drake keeps on saying, you know, we got to wait a week. And I find it interesting. Also, he's bringing up the fact that Taylor Swift, he brought it up in multiple verses, right? I believe in the Tupac verse and also in this Drake verse, the third verse right here, that Kendrick is pausing because Taylor Swift dropped her album. And that way, you know, Taylor will dominate the headlines and Kendrick wants to be in front. I don't think Kendrick is thinking that way, Drake. I don't think, I don't think Kendrick is thinking that the people who are checking for the Taylor Swift Swift album are also waiting for that Kendrick Lamar diss. I think those are two different demographics. But I don't think Kendrick needs this to be the biggest diss ever. He doesn't need this diss to go, to the top of the charts. What he needs is this diss to be good. That's what Kendrick needs. But I don't know what Drake is thinking there. But I still like this diss. I still like this diss because it's clever to use the AI. I'm going to break that down. So the final part of the song is the outro where Drake says, yeah, shout out to Taylor Swift, biggest gangster in the music game right now. You know, I moved my album when she dropped. I said that already. You know she about to Millie run through sorry. You know she about to Millie run through him. Millie rock on your head top. Well, she got the whole PG Lang on mute like that Beyonce challenge. Y'all boys quiet for the weekend. Like, Dot, I know you're in that NY apartment. You struggling right now. I know it. In the notepad doing lyrical gymnastics, my boy. You better have a motherfucking quintuple entendre on that shit. Some shit I don't even understand. Like, that shit better be crazy. We waiting on you. Yeah. All right. So, once again, Drake is playing chess moves here. I really like what Drake is doing. So, about the AI part, let's break this down. There have been other AI disses that have been, percolating in this beef. There was a AI Kendrick diss that I just heard before turning on this live stream called Owl Hunting. It was written by some guy named Loza Alexander, and he also jumps on it at the third verse. That's why people weren't, hyping it up, but people were clipping the song, the first two verses where Kendrick goes at Drake, and they were saying, oh, Kendrick responded, it's the greatest diss in the world, blah, blah, blah. It was just all right, you know what I mean? What we're expecting Kendrick to do is have a lot of subliminals in his diss, a lot of lines that rap fans will really have to analyze and break down, and in the AI diss from Kendrick, there wasn't any of that. So I can't even include that in the beef, and it wasn't even that great just to begin with lyrically. All right, but I like what Drake is doing with the AI here because of this. Everybody is piling up on Drake in the industry. Drake seriously has no friends in this beef. He can't call up nobody. Nobody wants to get involved. Wayne ain't gonna jump in and save him. Nicki can't jump in and save him. Drake is literally out here by himself. So what does he do? Because he has no friends, he has to pull up AI. And I think this is deeper. This is chess level moves right here because I think he's basically saying the whole industry is fake anyway. All these rappers are fake. We can literally generate songs with, Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick all together on 3 verses. I'm pretty sure if you type it in on YouTube, Big 3 AI is out there. Drake is saying with this AI diss that all of these rappers are fake. We can generate them whenever we want. We can use their verses whenever we want. And I like that he is utilizing that aspect of the game in his diss to take a shot at Kendrick. Like, basically, Kendrick, none of this actually matters. Drake could drop a diss tomorrow with Kendrick rapping a diss track to him and basically Kendrick shitting on himself. Like, Drake can do this, and Drake is very strategic, very smart on doing this because this diss is basically for the people. He can't put it on streaming platforms. It's not like this can go on Spotify or SoundCloud. Drake is now actually outside with the people saying like, yo, where you at, Kendrick? We want the diss. We want the hip hop. I like, once again, Drake is not my favorite rapper, but I like that he is a man. He is standing on business. He's standing on his too. And he is willing to accept whatever comes in this beef. And he also subliminally dissed himself in this diss too, taking the 8 Mile approach. And 8 Mile, Eminem got on stage. B-Rabbit said, I'll walk my white ass back to the trailer park and all that stuff. So I like what Drake is doing here. Drake is being very strategic on dissing himself. Now, I'm going to break down the lyrics one more time. So Tupac said, Kendrick, we need you, the West Coast savior, engraving your name in some hip hop history if you deal with this viciously. You seem a little nervous about all the publicity. Fuck this Canadian light skin, Dot. We need an undebated West Coast victory. So those first, 8 bars right there, I really like them because Kendrick has brought up Tupac multiple times. Kendrick has alluded to himself being the reincarnation of Tupac. He's had Tupac on that Pimp a Butterfly album with the at the ending of Mortal Man when Kendrick was talking to Tupac when he chopped up an unheard Tupac interview. So I like that Drake is utilizing Tupac in this. And also as well, if you remember, Kendrick had that video, I forgot the name, I think it was The Heart Part 4, where he basically had AI making himself look like Nipsey and Will Smith and all these other people and stuff like that. So I think Drake, once again, is using AI to put this back in Kendrick's face. Like, you are not who you say you are. And all the heroes that you say you idolize, all the people that you're saying that you're reincarnating, you're bringing the energy back, you're letting them down, you're disappointing them by not being ready for this battle, right? But I think, once again, I think Kendrick is not on the clock. I think Kendrick is not on the clock. I hate when people are saying so-and-so is on the clock, so-and-so is on the clock, because you know, people should take time with their disses. Your diss should not be fast. Your diss should be good. This is why people took points away from Ross. His diss was just alright. His only his second verse was really punching, and then he did a lot of talking at the end, just talking to Drake, you know. But that's not important. In this diss, you gotta rap. It's not about being on time. It's just about rapping. So. Yeah, go ahead. So Tupac says, or Drake makes Tupac say, call him a bitch for me. Talk about him liking young girls. That's a gift from me. Heard it on the Button podcast. It's gotta be true. They told me the spirit of Machiavelli is alive in a nigga 5'5", so it's gotta be you. I would beef the whole fucking game. It was me and Snoop Dogg having my fucking shirt off in the House of Blues. Now, Drake he's playing with something very dangerous here when he's taunting Kendrick to talk about Drake's alleged like of young girls. If people don't know, Drake has been accused of sleeping with SZA when SZA was underage. Drake was also accused of sleeping with that girl from Stranger Things. I think her name is Millie Bobby Brown. Drake has been like accused of grooming her and stuff like that, and also many other, girls and stuff like that. There was an issue where Drake brought some girl to the stage and like kissed her, and then she said she was like 16 or 17, and this happened. That was a big drama early in Drake's career. So there have been accusations against Drake of him liking underage women, being a groomer, being a statutory, rapist, stuff like that. It gets very nasty. Now, there are so many things about Drake that we've sort of forgotten and forgiven over the years. And that's a big thing. So if Drake wants that sort of smoke from Kendrick, I would be very reticent or hesitant to even poke that bear, because I've totally forgot about that. But Drake is probably staying up all night wondering what's the angle that Kendrick is going to come at him with this diss. And if Kendrick really doubles down and paints Drake as an R. Kelly, if Drake really, gets painted as some sort of sick, pedophilic Epstein type character, it could get really hard for him. That's the big issue here. If Kendrick really puts that pen to paper, if Kendrick really puts that pen to paper and calls out Drake for all the times he's been accused of sleeping with young girls, grooming young girls, trying to holler at young girls, this could get really nasty for him, and I don't think he could recover from that. And this is an angle that Pusha T did not attack Drake at. All right, Andre Beja jumped into the chat. He said, hey, Simon, what's up? Shout out to Andre Beja. Let me know what you think. Who's winning this battle? Is it Kendrick? Is it Drake? Let me know what you think, Andre Beja. Whose money? Where do you have your money on? Do you have it on Drake? Do you have it on Kendrick? By the way, before I continue breaking down the Tupac part of this, I want to say this. I think it's smart for Drake not to respond to Rick Ross. He needs to be only focused on Kendrick. I think if Ross continues to, poke at Drake with more music, then Drake should respond with more music. But the beef going at it with IG captions and stuff like that, Rick Ross is making himself look foolish with all the beefing with 1090 Jake, going back at it over his CO history. Rick Ross is losing points by just constantly bringing up BBL Drizzy on his timeline and making Instagram stories about him. There's a video of Rick Ross doing a show in Chicago. There's a video of Rick Ross doing a show in Chicago, and he's wearing a Drake hoodie while performing Stay Scheming and also Diced Pineapples. So I don't know what Rick Ross is actually doing right here. Andre Beja says Drake 1,000%. All right, I'm believing Drake is winning too. So Andre Beja, you and me are the same. I think Drake is winning this beef, and I think he will win this beef if Kendrick continues to act slow, if he continues not to jump in the game, if he continues to wait a bit. Now, I don't believe he's on the clock, but I'm talking about other people. Other people are going to start running with this narrative that Kendrick was scared of Drake and that Drake was able to dominate the beef, dominate the battle because Kendrick took too long. That's what other people will say. And hip-hop battles are just about a battle of public opinion. And Drake has connections with academics. He has connections with other streamers like Kai Cenat and all the other platforms and stuff like that. So they're taking Drake's side because Drake actually goes on their platforms, gives them a shout out, helps boost their numbers and stuff like that. Kendrick is a recluse. Kendrick is away from the people. Now, Kendrick's pen is so strong that people are still going to hype him up, and he has some diehard fans who are really willing to ride for him. You get what I'm saying? But aside from that, Drake has a lot of momentum, and he's building up momentum, and Drake has the sort of advantage right now. But in my opinion, if Kendrick's diss is very hard and it's very scathing, this might be very hard for Drake, especially if Kendrick really starts talking about those underage girls accusations. Continuing here, K. Dot, you gotta fuck this nigga girl. He gotta get abused. All that shit about burning tattoos. He is not amused. That's jail talk for real thugs. You gotta be you. So I think Drake is like poking fun at this whole beef, or really prodding Kendrick to do something outlandish, or salacious, or probably saying, Kendrick, you couldn't even do that. I mean, Kendrick, you're 5'5". You're a recluse, weird Hebrew Israelite, running around America, doing push-ups and hoodies and jogging in obscure hoods and stuff like that. So are you able to smash the type of women Drake can? I think this might be another subliminal at Kendrick, poking at him for not being really on the same status level, like on the same level in the quote unquote sexual marketplace, if that makes sense. This is how I'm interpreting that. K. Dot, you gotta fuck this nigga girl. Like, think about that. Think about how crazy that is. That's like telling, like, if you were dating like Kim Kardashian or Khloe Kardashian, and you were like telling some dude, hey man, you really wanna get at me? You better fuck my girl. Like, that would be impossible. You get what I'm saying? So Andre Beja says, Simon, I gotta go because I wanted to say hello. So bye. Shout out to Andre Beja. Peace to you. Anyway, continuing here. All that shit about burning tattoos. He is not amused. That's jail talk for real thugs. You gotta be you. So I think Drake right here is saying again, Kendrick, don't start talking all this thug talk, burning tattoos, snatching chains. That's what Kendrick was talking about on Like That. Now, I think people are underestimating Kendrick's gangster. Because I said this before in the live stream, Kendrick has alluded to his gang ties in the past, his affiliation in the past, his PTSD, and there have been rumors out there that Kendrick actually was active and actually caught a body. This is what I've heard. This is what I've heard on these internet streets, these YouTube streets. So I think a lot of people are underestimating Kendrick's gangster, but he has rebranded himself, at least in the minds of like hip hop fans, as the good kid who grew up in the Mad City, rather than a mad kid who became good later on. But Drake once again is saying, like, Kendrick, don't start talking this thug talk, burning tattoos, snatching chains. Okay, so yeah, once again, Drake is prodding Kendrick to really go at him. He says, gotta leave this motherfucker broken and bruised before we really lose. You asked for the smoke, now it seems you too busy for the smoke. I won't lie, the people confused. So once again, Drake is saying, like, Kendrick, you asked for this battle. You jumped out the window with the Like That verse. You've been throwing shots at Drake all throughout your career. You dissed me on Buried Alive. Like, Kendrick, where are you at? You got the diss that you've been sitting on for 4 years. Now, let's talk about that diss, that supposed diss that Kendrick is sitting on, because nobody heard about this until Drake. So I think Drake threw that out there once again to put Kendrick on the clock, because Drake believes in this mythical clock that people are on in rap battles. By Drake saying or alluding to the fact that Kendrick has had a diss he's sitting on for 4 years, he is saying, like, Kendrick, any time that you wait, every second that you wait, you're showing that you're scared, because you've had this diss that you've been preparing for that could destroy Drake's entire career, but you're sitting on it, showing that you are Pussy. You get what I'm saying? That's what I think Drake was alluding to, and that's what Drake was trying to put into the hip-hop consciousness. And now all the media personalities and all the Drake stans are running with that. Like, we're waiting for 4 days. Where you at? You've had the diss for 4 years. Where you at? You get what I'm saying? So I don't think there's any mistake that Drake decided to use the number 4, because in the back-to-back diss, he said that to Meek. We waited for 4 days. Where you at? So yeah, it's the same thing. It's a very smart strategy from Drake to put Kendrick on the clock. All right. So Tupac then says, through the words of Drake, now you about to give this shit another week and fall back to homegirl who running numbers up. I woulda refused. Fuck these industry relationships. She not in your shoes. You supposed to be the boogeyman. You got to do what you do. Unless this is a moment that you tell us this not really you. I find it hilarious that Tupac is bringing up Taylor Swift. And once again, because Tupac has been rumored to still be alive in Cuba somewhere or recording raps in the Philippines, it's even funnier to imagine that Tupac is analyzing the game and saying Kendrick is not dropping because of Taylor Swift. Like, that's hilarious. That is just straight up funny. That is funny to think about. That Tupac is like, yo, the Swifties got Kendrick scared. That's just hilarious. But yeah, Taylor Swift dropped her album. Didn't even know she dropped her album. And this is the thing. I think Drake is more in this pop world, but he is framing Kendrick as being more a pop star, a person who's scared of their brand or image more than Drake, right? Because that's what he did in the no, not the other diss he dropped. I forgot the name. Drop and Give Me 50 push-ups, whatever, right? He said, Kendrick, you got to drop a verse for Maroon 5 and then for the Swifties and stuff like that, making Kendrick seem like a pop star. But in this case also as well, like Drake is thinking like a pop star. Like, how can I maximize this moment? Drake even admits to pushing his album back whenever Taylor Swift drops because Drake wants to make sure he reaches the #1 spot and stuff like that. I don't think Kendrick is in that universe because most hip hop fans did not know Taylor Swift was dropping an album today. You get what I'm saying? But either way, very interesting. So passing it off to Snoop right here. So the Snoop verse is much better. Nephew, what the fuck you really about to do? We passed you the torch at the House of Blues. This is referring to two things because Tupac mentioned the House of Blues. There's an iconic video of a performance of Tupac performing at the House of Blues, all of his hits. It's, I think also an album that was released, Tupac Live at the House of Blues. I mean, anytime you see footage of Tupac in movies when he's performing with his shirt off and stuff like that, going at the crowd, that's all images from the House of Blues, right? And at that same House of Blues in LA, I believe, there's a video years later of Game, Snoop Dogg, Too Short, and Kendrick Lamar all on stage, and all of them coalesce around Kendrick and crown him the West Coast king, the West Coast savior. Like, it's a very odd moment too, because like it's very strange to see the Game, a rapper who put in so much work, went to war with the whole industry, or at least half of the industry when he went to war with G Unit and 50 Cent, Lloyd Banks and all of them. Very odd to see Game just sort of give up the crown to Kendrick. Snoop do the same, and other rappers, I believe Corrupt was there too. A lot of lyrical West Coast rappers all sort of gave up the crown and put it on Kendrick's shoulders. And I believe this was around the Good Kid, Mad City era, and that happened at the House of Blues. You can find that video. Either way, Drake is saying, like, you were crowned the West Coast king. The whole coast is counting on you. The whole coast gave you the keys to the castle. So why are you allowing this Canadian, this light-skinned, weak-ass actor from Canada to run up on your coast, go to war with the whole industry and got you scared? You get what I'm saying? Very, very interesting how Drake is attacking this. And now you got to do some dirty work. You know how to move, right? Right? I know you never been to jail or wore jumpsuits and shower shoes, never shot nobody, never stabbed nobody. Once again, I don't think Drake wants to play with Kendrick talking about never shot nobody, because I think this is the moment Kendrick might really come out and talk about those allegations. And I think he might confirm those allegations. I'm going to keep it real with you. I think Kendrick in this beef might go out the window because he's been talking hella tough. The world is waiting on him. He might really start talking about those affiliations he had in the past and the work he put in the past. But he's making Snoop Dogg say here to Kendrick, like, please don't start talking gangster. You never went to jail. You never really been about that life, supposedly. So don't start talking that way. You got to keep it lyrical against Drake. So never did nothing violent to no one. It's the homies that empower you. Once again, Drake is making Snoop say here that, all the people in TDE are the real gangsters. Schoolboy Q, Ab-Soul, J-Rock, all those people around Kendrick are the quote-unquote real gangsters, and they're the ones who've protected you and gave you some certification in the streets. They gave you some actual cred. Don't start going down that direction, Kendrick, because it's not you. So, but still, you got to show this fucking owl who's the boss in the West. Now's the time to really make a power move. Now, I find it interesting Drake used the word owl here because I think Drake did not really take this seriously. Like, I've never heard Drake refer to himself as an owl. I really feel like Drake wrote this in like 5 minutes because these verses are low-key kind of whack. They're low-key not that well thought out. Go into the chat right here. Craig Mack says, what up, Simon? Not my kind of topic. Catch you next live. Y'all hit the like button. Shout out to Craig Mack. For real, for real. So now it's the time to really make a power move, because right now it's looking like you writing out the game plan on how to lose, how to bark up the wrong tree, then get your head popped in a crowded room. That's so Drake. Like, the way he's writing this, I believe there was a line in the first diss he dropped, like, the head's peeping out and get you popped at your top or something like that. So yeah, Drake only knows how to write for Drake, and it's very interesting, the ghostwriting accusations. This beef is going like meta level. It's going to the next level because people are accusing Drake of having ghostwriters, but Snoop has had plenty of ghostwriters, and the way Drake is writing, showing that he's not that great of a ghostwriter, I think it's giving more credence to his pen if you really sit down and think about it. Going here, so world is watching this chess game, but are you out of moves? Dot, you know that the DOG never fucking doubted you, but right now it seemed like you posted up without a clue of what the fuck you about to do. I think right here, you know, Snoop is sort of like peaceful in all this thing. Like the only beef Snoop has ever had has been with Uncle Luke, some East Coast rappers like back in the day, Suge Knight and Eminem, right? Like I really think Snoop is in the middle of all this. Like Drake has probably been talking to Snoop, Kendrick's been talking to Snoop, and maybe Drake heard that Snoop is actually talking to Kendrick like this because Snoop is about it. Like Snoop dropped a very dope song with DJ Premier earlier this week with Daz Dillinger. Y'all go check that out. Type in DJ Premier Snoop on YouTube. Like Snoop is actually active outside. He's been the one mad at Dr. Dre that him and Dr. Dre have never done a complete album, or that Dr. Dre never dropped Detox and stuff like that. So Snoop probably is like, Kendrick, just do it. Just do it, because it's just music at the end of the day, and your fans are going to ride for you. So yeah, I find it very interesting Drake is taking that lane and using Snoop's voice as well. Because think about it. Drake could have used Biggie's voice. It could have been Tupac, Biggie, and Drake on this song, you know, hyping up Kendrick. Because think about it, Kendrick moved to New York. Kendrick don't even live in the West Coast now. So Tupac could have been rapping at Kendrick like, you gotta protect the West Coast, and then Biggie could have been rapping at Kendrick like, you on the East Coast now, you gotta represent for us and go at Kendrick, right? But it's a very interesting choice to use Snoop's words. I guess Drake is taking the lane, or taking the perspective that, you know, the West Coast needs a savior right now because Drake is attacking the whole coast. But I don't think Drake is trying to start some international war like Toronto versus LA or something like that. But I think, you know, Drake is taking the approach that, you know, you claim to be the West Coast king, West Coast savior, or you claim to be the king of hip hop, the baddest rapper outside, the boogeyman. Where you at? You get what I'm saying? But it would have been interesting if Biggie's voice was used in this diss, because Kendrick claimed to be the king of New York. Remember that line? And who else claimed to be the king? Who else claimed to be the king of New York? Biggie. So if Biggie was on this song, it'd be more interesting. Continuing here. So Drake's verse, I'm going to break down this. I'm definitely about to come around the Lang gang and let my fucking bowel move, shitting on you niggas from a whole different altitude. Once again, I think Drake wrote this in 5 minutes. He's having fun with this. I mean, I've never heard Drake say he's shitting on anybody on the game, but that's such a basic, you know, jab punch that people use. Let my fucking bowel move, shitting on you niggas from a different altitude. He's saying he's higher up, and he's just, you know, dissing the ops who are below him. High up on the sky like I'm Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes was the famous aviator. The first one really took me an hour or two. The next one is really about to bring out the coward in you. All right, so LRT jumped into the chat. He said hi. Shout out to LRT for jumping in. Let me know what you think about this beef. Who do you think is winning? Do you think it's Drake? Do you think it's Kendrick? Who do you think is going to come out on top on this? Who do you think is winning right now? Anyway, so one more thing. Next one is really about to bring out the coward in you. First one took an hour or two. He's saying the first diss wasn't really that serious, even though there were so many subliminals, so many deep punchlines in there. I think what he's saying here is that the next diss for Kendrick is going to really talk serious and talk heavy to him. Now, once again, I have to reiterate, because this battle has been going on for like a month now. I'm going to say this. I hope Drake doesn't go overboard. I hope Drake doesn't really start going at Whitney and dissing like his baby mama, or trying to expose Kendrick. We want this to stay peaceful. We want everybody to piece it up. You get what I'm saying? This is good for hip hop, but we don't want people talking about they smoking on dead ops or packs or nothing like that. Let's keep it PG. So I hope it stays that way. You get what I'm saying? But continuing here. The next one really about to bring out the coward in you. But we gotta wait a fucking week because Taylor Swift is your new top, and you about to drop. She gotta approve. Very interesting what Drake is saying here. Once again, it's about to you gotta wait a week. Kendrick is not on the clock. Taylor Swift is not the reason Kendrick didn't drop. I believe Kendrick is taking his time crafting something. I wouldn't be surprised if Kendrick drops an entire EP, the same way J. Cole did. I would not be surprised if Kendrick attacks this thing from different angles with different songs and drops a few different disses at Drake from a few different angles. That would be, I would think, the best way. I think a 3-pack EP of Kendrick attacking Drake from so many different angles, like how Budden did, would be the best way to do it. Give the people really what they want. So LRT says, "What are we talking about?" I don't know what you mean. What we're talking about? We're being very explicit. We're talking about the Drake and Kendrick diss, and we're breaking down the lyrics of this new song, "Tailor Made." And you can find the lyrics online. You can listen to the song on YouTube. We're on the 3rd verse of Drake right here. But continuing here, "This girl really about to make you act like you not in a feud. She tailor-made your schedule with Ant. You out of the loop." I don't know who Ant is. I'm on Rap Genius right here. I'm going to see if I can get the annotation. Drake alleges that Kendrick delayed dropping his response to push-ups to avoid challenging the charting of the Tortured Poets Department, the 11th studio album by pop icon Taylor Swift that dropped on April 19th, 2024. Drake previously teased Lamar for catering to Swift's agenda on push-ups when he rapped, "We need a verse for the Swifties, blah, blah, blah." I don't know who Ant is. Maybe that's K-Doc's manager and stuff like that. Continuing here. "Hate all of your corporate industry puppets. I'm not in the mood. I love it when you niggas talk loose like I'm not in the room. Since like that, your tone changed a little. You're not as enthused." Very interesting bars he's spitting right here. So he's saying, like, Kendrick, you used to be so active, so gangster, talking out of the side of your neck, puffing out your chest and stuff like that. Where's that energy now? I really like how Drake is, like, testing Kendrick and making it fun. You get what I'm saying? Like, Drake is very strategic, very smart. I wouldn't be surprised if this was like, what's it called? When a focus group approved, or if this was made by the council meeting of the OVO sweatshop. Like, this is the strategy for attacking Kendrick. But Drake is very strategic, and I like that. I like that. So LRT says Drake is gay, right? I wouldn't know if Drake is gay, and I don't think that matters, but I highly doubt he is gay. But we're talking about the lyrics here in this song. Continuing here. "You trying to let this shit die down. Nah, nah, nah. Not this time, nigga. You following through. I guess you need another week to figure out how to improve. What the fuck is taking so long? We waiting on you. The rest of y'all definitely involved. Y'all getting it too. Soon as you get the courage to drop, I'm out on the loose." Very interesting. So Drake is sending the threat to everybody. I know Future is talking crazy. Metro, you should shut the fuck up and make some drums, nigga. Rick Ross talking crazy too. I think Drake is putting that challenge out there that anybody who's talking crazy to him, they're going to have to be ready for that Drake diss too. I wouldn't be surprised if Drake dissed Ross later, if he dissed The Weeknd again, if he dissed Future again, anybody again, right? I wouldn't be surprised if he did that. You get what I'm saying? But I think Drake is saying here, like, Kendrick, it's on you. You're really on the clock. Drake is pushing Kendrick to be on that clock. Bad Villain, he jumped into the comments. He says, "Tailoring to Taylor Swift is crazy. That's an L, Kendrick." I think Drake is framing it as an L. Like, we're looking at this and we're seeing it as an L. But I don't think it actually is an L because, Mad Villainy, did you know Taylor Swift was dropping today? I didn't. I don't think any hip-hop fans were like, "Yo, Taylor Swift about to drop. The whole rap game about to be shooken up." Nah. But Drake is framing it that way, making Kendrick seem like a bitch. So going to the outro before I shut off this live stream and give my final take. So yeah, shout out to Taylor Swift, biggest gangster in the music game right now. I moved my album when she dropped. I said that already. She about to Millie run through them, Millie rock on your head top. So yeah, I think this might be construed as a bit corny for Drake to say, like, Taylor Swift's a bigger gangster than Kendrick Lamar because she's dominating the game. But yeah, it's all about framing. It's not actually about speaking the truth because, once again, rap beefs are about perception. It's about what people think. So she got the whole PG Lang on mute like that Beyonce challenge. So if you don't know what the mute challenge is, basically Beyonce says, in one of her lyrics, "I got the whole stadium on mute," and then people in the audience are supposed to, like, freeze and not say a word, and then Beyonce drops the music again. Very interesting. Once again, Drake is thinking very pop and very, bigger level. Like, what can make the biggest impact? Who has the biggest impact? And I think that's why Drake has been on top so much, like on top literally, as in he's thinking about what can I do to make sure that, my name or my music reaches the most people. So he keeps bringing up Taylor Swift and Beyonce, but I don't think Kendrick is thinking that way too. I don't think anybody's thinking that way. All right. So y'all boys quiet for the weekend. Like, Dot, I know you're in that NY apartment just struggling right now. I know it. Very interesting. He brings up the fact that Kendrick Lamar lives in New York now. You know, New York is famous for having some of the most lyrical rappers in the world. So he's putting the stakes up even higher, saying, Kendrick, now you're on the East Coast, you better start, really rapping like you're in front of the bodega wearing Tim's and a fitted hat. Like, you really better come with it. Like, because if you're from New York and you drop a whack diss, if you're in New York City recording in New York and you drop a whack lyrical diss against Drake, you can't come outside. You can't come outside. That's where Drake is taking it. So in the notepad doing lyrical gymnastics, my boy, you better have a motherfucking quintuple entendre on that shit. Some shit I don't even understand. Like, shit better be crazy. We waiting on you. Now, the only thing I have to say to Drake is be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. If Kendrick really starts trying to expose Drake for, being pedophilic or doing statutory rape or grooming young girls, this could get nasty. It wouldn't be impossible for Drake to get canceled the way R. Kelly does. It wouldn't be impossible for Drake to be seen in the same light as Jeffrey Epstein. It wouldn't be impossible for the whole world to turn their back on Drake like Diddy if Kendrick really, really starts talking about Drake liking underage girls. Because what can Drake actually say against that? Kendrick could really attack this by calling Drake a sexual deviant. I think everybody forgot about Drake's dick pic leaking online earlier this year. I think people are forgetting about Drake talking about "I'ma tie you up in whips and chains like American slaves" on that SZA song earlier this year. If that wasn't this year, that was last year, but it was recently. Drake has said a lot of questionable things in the lines. Drake has hinted at sleeping with SZA when she was 16 or 17. Everybody's seen the way he's interacted with Millie Bobby Brown and thinks it's weird. It wouldn't be impossible for us to get Drake out of here if he is accused very, very, very convincingly by Kendrick of being a pedophilic, sick, Epstein-like character. That's the danger that Drake is in, and that's why I think he brought it up. Because Drake has no response. What is he going to say? Kendrick's going to say, I saw you sleeping, I saw you trying to groom the young girls, and all Drake can say, no, I didn't, no, I didn't, no, I didn't. What's he going to do? Get Millie Bobby Brown on the track to then defend him? That's going to look even worse. All right, Mad Villainy jumped in and said, I'm rooting for Kendrick. Okay, I'm rooting for whoever has the best diss. So far, I think Drake is winning. I think he's dropped very strategic lines, very interesting songs, very unique ways of attacking the industry. He has nobody on his side, so he has to literally resurrect Tupac from the dead and get Snoop Dogg AI on the track. So I find it very interesting how Drake is coming at this, but he's playing with a dangerous game right now. Once again, I would be happy if Kendrick dissed Drake without going into the stuff about, young girls and grooming and stuff like that. But in rap beef, everything is off the table. Everything is off the table, and who knows where it can go. Who knows where it can go. So that's my opinion of this Drake tailor-made freestyle. Let me know what y'all think about it in the comments section, in the chat. Shout out to everybody who jumped in to rock with me. Shout out to Mad Villainy. Shout out to LRT. Shout out to Craig Mack. Shout out to Andre Beja. Shout out to Just Someone. Y'all stay tuned for more content. My name is Simon Hill. I will be waiting for that Kendrick diss. As soon as that Kendrick diss drops, I will be on live talking about it, breaking it down with the people. Y'all play this back, run this back. Y'all tell me what I missed in the lyrics. My name is Simon Hill. Once again,